The session is on your marks, get set and go. So it's divided in 3 parts. On your marks, get set and spin, because this is tall tales and we are going to spin a good tall tale by the end of this session. Okay, so Nagpur, a city which reminds me of this delicacy, and I'm reminded of my friend Rajesh Chaudhary, who comes from Nagpur, and every time he used to go to his hometown Nagpur and come back, he would bring this sweet, the Nagpur Santra Barfi. We do get it in Pune also, okay? We do get this sweet in Pune also, but the taste differs. The origin is from Nagpur. Pune does not have that taste, okay? So it's a very special city, and Rajesh also reminds me of an incident which had happened in 2017. He had gone to a jungle safari in Gujarat and he had returned back from the vacation, okay? And when he came and he sat next to me, I was typing and he was sitting next to me. So I asked him, how are you? How was the vacation? What happened? So he said, yeah, it was okay. We had gone for the Gir Jungle Safari. Oh, Gir Jungle Safari. How was it? Did you enjoy it? Yeah, it was okay. We went inside and then there was 5 jeeps were there, and then there were marshals in each of the jeeps. And did you see any lion? Oh yes, there was one lion which came and it just stood on the road, and then we waited for 5 minutes, and after that it went away and we just followed. I said, okay, good. Did Veer enjoy the ride? Now Veer is a 8-year-old son of Rajesh, okay? He's 8 years old. So yes, Veer enjoyed it. In fact, he created some chaos in the society after we came back from the trip. And then what happened? Well, you know Veer, right? He spoke about the story, and he went and he told the story to his friends. So that's good, right? We have a storyteller who's coming. No. After listening to his stories, all the parents of the children, they came running to my house in the evening and they started asking us about this story. So are you all interested in knowing Veer's story? What was Veer's story? Well, it was very much similar to Rajesh's story, but it was a tall tale. Okay. He said, we all had gone to Gujarat jungle safari, and there were 5 jeeps full of people, tourists. We were in one of the jeeps. All jeeps had 1 marshal each. Suddenly, there came a lion and stood in the road. All the 5 jeeps stopped one after the other. We got down from the jeep. I went near the lion, and the lion was sitting on the road. We all started cuddling the lion, and we cuddled it. 5 minutes later, the marshal said to the lion, go away, it's time, we have to go. The lion was not listening. So I just gave it a spat, and after hitting him, the lion got scared and it got up and it ran away into the bushes. And after that, we went back into our jeeps and we continued the safari. Now, after listening to this story, the parents were a bit worried. All the parents of the Veer's friends, they came running to Rajesh's house just to confirm if the story was true. And Rajesh said, "Arey, why do you listen to him? You know, right? Arey, खूप मोठा फेकू है तू. Veer is so lambi फेंकना. So Veer is a big feku. But if you have to ask me, Veer is a very intelligent boy over here. He's a statistician in making. He has a good understanding of statistics. He has a good understanding of tall tales. And we have a champion in making. Do you want to understand the math behind this story? There's a deep math that he had. Okay. So if we go back to Veer's version of the story, he used the animal as lion. He said that we went into the safari. Suddenly there came a lion, and the lion stood, and we got down from the jeep. And then there was a dilemma whether this story is true or not. I want you to pause and think over here. If he had used cat as an example, would the story have been interesting? Would the parents come home? No, right? If he had said that there was a cat which came and sat, we all got down from the jeep and we started cuddling the cat, and then I hit the cat, and then the cat went into the bushes, would the parents even care for this story? Or the children care for this story? No. Because this is 100% possible. Cat is 100% possible, right? It exists. Cat is possible. Okay, how about this? So cat is not something he can use. How about this? If he would have said that we went for a jungle safari and suddenly there came a dinosaur and sat on the road. Would the children believe? Would the parents believe? No, right? So if he uses cat, people will believe him, but the story is not interesting. If he uses dinosaur, people would not believe him, and hence the story will not fly, the tall tale. So he just goes in the center and he uses lion as an example. Now, hold on. Sameer. You are saying lion believable. Well, yes, it's believable. It's believable because if you have gone to Thailand, or if you have heard about the zoos in Thailand, over there you can actually go and cuddle a tiger. Do you know about this? There are zoos in Thailand wherein you can go. The tiger has forgotten that it is a tiger, because since it is a cub, it is with the human beings. The tiger cub is with the human beings. So when the cub grows up and becomes a full-fledged tiger, it is still with the human beings. So the tourists come to the national park in the Thailand and they start cuddling the tiger, and you have photographs. You'll find these photographs on the Instagram or on the Facebook. So in Thailand, it is possible. You can cuddle a tiger. Now, the only question that the parents had was, is it something which is possible in India? Has it started something recently? And that's why they came to Rajesh house to confirm if whatever Veer had told was a true story. Everyone with me so far? Right? 3 examples, right? Okay. So we have the lion, which is 50%. We have the cat, which is 100%. And we have the dinosaur, which is 0%. What would this mean? But what is 100%, 0%, and 50%? Any guesses?
Possibility of believing that that can happen or not.
Correct. Very nice. It's a possibility. 100% possible that a cat can come in a Gir jungle. It's possible. 50% possibility that a lion can come and you can go and cuddle a lion. 0% possibility that a dinosaur would come and you can go and cuddle a dinosaur. Okay. So Veer is a tall tale champion in making. And this is what Veer has the ability to do. He can strike that fine balance between 0 and 100. See, the moment you start going towards 0 or the impossible, people are going to get disconnected. They are not going to listen to your speech. After the first minute is over, they are going to get zoned out. They will not listen to your speech. And if you start going towards 100, it's very much possible. This has happened. It happens. We all cuddle a cat. Why would anyone listen to your speech? So, crafting a tall tale is a balancing act. We have to strike a fine balance. Okay? between 0 and 100. And the more you can keep it at 50, you're going to succeed as a tall tales speaker. Okay. Now let's have a different representation of the same thing. Everyone clear till this point? Okay. Okay. Now this is where the tall tale is. The possible zone, then probable, and then the improbable and the impossible. Listen, the possible is something which is very much possible. It happens in day-to-day life. All the incidents that happen. Have you heard an international speech contest? Have you attended an international speech contest? International speech contest speeches lie in the possibility zone. Entire this square, this rectangle that you see, the international speech contests, they lie over here. Okay. Impossible is a speech which you will not believe, like the dinosaur thing. We are going to take some examples of an impossible thing. But the impossible is the outer square over here, rectangle that we have. So where does a tall tale lie? The tall tale lies in this green shaded area. The probability, the probable and the improbable zone. Okay. So if there is anything that you would like to take away from today's session, is this one slide I would want you to take, and this should be etched in your minds. The possible, from possible, go to probable, and from probable, go to improbable, and leave it over there. As a tall tale speaker, leave it at the improbable. Okay. This slide or this interpretation is not there anywhere on the internet. It's not there in the books. This is by pure example. Okay, this is pure example that I had of Rajesh, and I have converted into a slide over here for you. Okay, you won't find this slide anywhere on the internet, or even the interpretation, how to interpret it. But this is the most important slide for today's session. Okay, now let's have some examples of possible, probable, improbable, and impossible. And you are going to tell me whatever I am saying, whether it is possible, probable, improbable, or impossible. Everyone with me? Okay, let's start. Harsh gave a speech in Division N. Was a moderator in Division N. Possible, probable, improbable, impossible.
Possible.
Possible, right? Harsh can give it. Okay. Toastmaster Sameer Naik comes and delivers an educational session in Division N.
Possible.
Possible. Okay. World champion Aaron comes and delivers a speech for Division N, an educational session.
Probable. Probable.
Possible. Probable. Probable. It's probable, right? Okay. President or say Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes and delivers a speech for Division N.
Improbable.
Improbable, right? And Mahatma Gandhi comes and gives a speech for Division N.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Got the examples, all 4 examples over here, right? Okay, I'll give few more examples because all of these were related to Toastmasters. Now let's have some few more examples. I had lunch with the Home Minister, Amit Shah.
Probable.
Probable. If you know him, then why not?
So probable. Okay. Rajnath Singh had lunch with Amit Shah.
Possible.
Possible.
Daily. Possible.
Daily, right? You're getting the fine difference between possible and probable. Can someone explain why you said Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh can have lunch as possible and me and Amit Shah having lunch as probable? What is your thought process? Can you share your thought process?
Yeah, because there is few chance that you know about Amit Shah, and maybe you know him and he will accept your offer of having lunch or dinner with him. So that's a chance we are talking about. And with Rajnath Singh and Amit Shah, they both are ministers, so definitely they are gonna have lunch together.
Very nice. Okay. So there's a commonality between Rajnath Singh and Amit Shah. And that commonality makes it possible that they can have lunch every single day. So just note down the word commonality over here. Okay. And this has to be established. If you have to say that you had lunch with Home Minister Amit Shah, or you have to make the audience believe that, hey, you know what, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he can actually come and give a speech for Division N. And if you can establish that, some commonality, some context, then in that case, you can make an improbable statement, make the audience believe an improbable statement. You can start bringing it towards the probable. Okay. Okay. I'll request everyone to mute yourself while you're not speaking so that it does not distract us. Okay. So throughout our tall tale, we are going to make a journey from possible to probable to improbable and leave it over there. Okay. We are going to have this journey. Now, what do I mean over here that you are going to have a journey? Possible. Going for a jungle safari in Gujarat, Gir Jungle, possible? Possible. Spotting a lion in Gujarat, Gir Jungle, possible? No. So what is it? Possible, probable, improbable?
Possible. Spotting a lion in Gir, definitely.
Okay, so it's probable. Because every time you go for a jungle safari, it's not guaranteed.
Right.
It's not guaranteed that there would be a lion which would come and it would sit. It would sit on the road. Okay. So it's probable. See, there's a very fine line difference between possible and probable. You see this green dark line that we have over here? That's probable. The line that we have over here in the diagram, that's the probable zone. The outer green line that we see over here, that is improbable. Is it clear? Right? Spotting a lion and a lion coming and sitting on the road, that is probable. Okay, it's not possible. It's not guaranteed. Every time you pay for the safari and you go for the safari, you'll see. So remember the 0, 50 and 100. Every time we are going to question, is it 0, is it 50, is it 100? So it is 50% chance. Every time you'll have to wait against this slide. We had this slide, right? Every statement you're going to write as a tall tale, you're going to wait whether it is 0, it is 50 or it is 100. Are you getting this? When you write a tall tale speech, you are going to check every statement. You're going to audit your statements, whether it is 100 or 50 or 0% possibility or probability of it happening. This contest is different. A tall tale is different than an international speech contest. International speech contest, everything is 100% possible. Everything is 100% possible. You don't have to wait. You don't have to audit it. For a tall tale, you have to slowly start bringing from 100. See, the journey is going to start. When your speech starts now, you're going to start at 100. We went to a Gujarat Gir Jungle for a safari. 100% possible. And slowly, steadily, you're going to start moving towards 50. We spotted a lion. And then you're going to go beyond 50. Say at 40, you would say, and I got down from the jeep and I went and I patted the lion. From 50, we went to 40 or even 30 for that matter. Getting this? So you're going to start your speech at 100. Now, can you tell me what is the challenge, biggest challenge that you see if you start from 0? One fine day, I got up in the morning and I was invisible. I went into the mirror and I saw I was invisible. Do you believe this statement? If you start a speech in this manner, would the audience accept this speech? At the first statement, within first 5 seconds, the audience is disconnected. Do you agree to this? The audience is disconnected. They have nothing. You have to start from the possible. Everyone sitting in the room should believe, yes, yes, yes. Yes, it happens to us also. We also go for a safari, jungle safari. Yeah. Oh, okay. You saw a lion. Okay, we had gone, but we didn't see a lion. But it's okay. Yeah, you saw a lion. Good. Go ahead. Tell me the story further. This is what the audience. Please see, the audience is auditing your speech. They are doing this. Okay. Fine. So from possible, we moved to probable when he said that he saw a lion. The jeep stopped. The marshal got down. All the tourists got down. And he went into the improbable when he said, we started cuddling. I started cuddling the lion. And he had reached at the peak. He had reached at the peak of his improbability when he said that I bait the lion. I just hit it so that it will go back into the bushes. It got scared and it went into the bushes. That was the peak that he had reached. And he didn't go further, okay? He didn't go further. He didn't say the lion then caught my hand, it ate my hand, and then I did plastic surgery, my parents did. He didn't go there. It was moving towards impossible then in that case. If he would have said that the lion injured me, he ate my half hand, I was injured, I was taken to the hospital and everything, then okay. It has crossed probably 20%. Now it has entered 10% of possibility, 0% possibility. You would say, hey, now it is impossible. Whatever you are saying, that you lost your arm and then this is a new arm, this is impossible. Okay. So you need to know where you have to leave the speech. Where you have to leave the speech. It has to be till improbable. Don't go to the impossible. So impossible, people will disconnect it. So what we all agree is, we are going to start with possible, then we are going to slowly, steadily start moving towards the probable. And for weighing whether it is possible or probable, we are going to say 0%, 50% or 100% possibility of it happening. Okay? Clear till this point? Okay. And then from probable, we are going to move towards the improbable. Okay. Now, with this established, and this is the slide that you are going to take home today. This is the most important slide. You know how I came to this slide? How was this slide? I realized about this slide. After I had spoken to Rajesh and he had told me about Veer's story, I thought about it. And then I got up early morning one fine day. It was say 4 a.m. I had got up and I was thinking about the same story because I was preparing for the Tall Tale first education session that I had given in Pune Advanced Toastmasters Club in 2019. And I said, boss, this Veer's story is a tall tale. But everyone who's emotional in the room, they'll accept, they'll understand that there are going to be people who are logical. They're left brain oriented. And they need some mathematics to understand whatever Veer had said, because he had done it. He's an artist. He's a craftsman. He has done it so smoothly. But for a mathematician or a statistician who's sitting in the room, who wants to understand that, if there is an accountant who is sitting in the room or a finance person who's sitting in the room, why would they even agree to Veer's story? Or if they have to understand, they need some graphs, they need something, right? So this was an output of that, waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, meditating on tall tales. I was thinking continuously about tall tales at that time while I was preparing for the educational session, and this is an output of a meditation session that I have. Okay, so this is going to be something that you're going to keep in front of you when you're going to write your tall tale. Okay, this is one slide that you're going to keep. Okay, now help me identify this movie. Which is this movie? Have you seen this movie?
Lilliput?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, those who are 80s kids or 90s kids, they know this movie. Those who were born in mid 80s or early 90s, they know. This is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. A beautiful movie. If you want a starting point, how do I craft a tall tale? Where do I start? Watch some movies. I'll tell you the name of the movies. Go and watch them. And just try to find what is possible, what is probable, what is improbable while you're watching that movie. See, preparing for tall tale is a very interesting thing. You have to just go and watch movies, and then you have to just come and make some notes about the movie. what you felt was possible, what is probable. It's not a very tedious task. Oh, I have to prepare for a tall tale. What do I do? I'm not yet ready. Tomorrow is the contest, or next week is the contest. I'm not yet ready with my content. It's very simple. Okay, go and watch movies. I'll tell you the names of the movies. But what is so special about this movie? Do you see these kids over here? Do you see these kids? They are shrunk. They are shrunk. This person over here, he's a scientist, and he invents a machine. This was a masterpiece from Disney. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's a masterpiece. And the story plot is something like this. There's a scientist over here. He's working on a machine which can shrink the objects, okay? Reduces the slide. And he tries it out on an apple. But it fails. The experiment fails. But he has a reasoning behind that machine, how you can shrink a size of an object. So this is what he says. See, if you have an object with you, if say you have an object, say you have a mouse, okay, and you have to shrink this mouse. So what he says, at a microscopic level, when you see this mouse, it has matter and it has empty spaces. This mouse has matter, which is something which is concrete, and then there are empty spaces. He says if you can come up, the empty spaces make up for the 90% of the volume that you see of this mouse. 90% volume is of empty space. Okay, between the two atoms which are held together, there is an empty space. There is an empty space, and if you are able to remove that empty space, you can shrink the object. Okay, so if you invent a machine, and this is what he gives as a theory, and he starts working, and after listening to that one line, my dear friends, after listening to that one line, as an audience, when I was watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a logical person, I could believe him that okay, at microscopic level, there is space between the atoms, there is 90% space, it is an empty space, and if we reduce that space, if we invent a machine which can reduce that space, we can actually shrink an object, because then it will only have matter. It will not have the empty spaces. Okay, with that one line, the idea was sold. Okay, the point I'm making is that a tall tale is going to be a 3 to 5 minute speech. And if you are having this thought in your mind that how do I bring audience from possible to probable to improbable, what do I do? So here's a good example, one single line by the scientists, and I believed it. So one single line drifted the speech from possible to probable, and it had brought it in the probable zone. It had brought it in the probable improbable zone. Are you getting it? It was just one line that the scientist said. There is empty space between the atoms, and if you are able to reduce that 90% empty space, which occupies 90% space, you can shrink the object. So let this not be there in your mind. How do I convince the audience in 3 minutes? How do I move them from possible to probable to improbable? It is not possible. It is impossible for me to give such kind of a speech. Then no, sit with a paper and pencil and start refining that statement. Start refining that statement in which you are going to bring the audience from the possible into the probable zone, and then you're going to bring them again into the improbable zone. Refine that statement. Maybe it can be 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, but it can be done. It can be done in 10 seconds, in 20 seconds, in 30 seconds. You can convince the audience. You can bring them from possible to probable to improbable zone. You can do that. Okay? Have that conviction, have that confidence. You can do that. Okay, so this is the plot. Scientist is inventing a machine which can reduce the size. He does it for an apple successfully, and then he goes for a conference. His children step into his laboratory where the machine is being invented, and they accidentally press the button and they get shrunk. They get shrunk, and you're finally he finds his children. They get lost in the garden somewhere. He's not able to find his children, but he knows that they have become small in size. The machine has shrunk them. How does he know that? Because in the same laboratory there is a sofa. there's a couch, and that couch has also reduced its size. So he knows that the machine worked and probably the children were sitting on the couch and they got shrunk. So that's the entire story plot. So please pay attention over here now to the story plot. This is known as a story hill. Okay, this is a story hill. If you're delivering an international speech contest, if you're delivering a humorous speech, or even if you're delivering a tall tale, all three kinds of speeches fall in this, they follow this story mountain. Okay, you start at the beginning, you give some background, and I gave you the background that there is a scientist who's trying to invent a machine, and then there is a rising action, and in the rising action I said that he tries to do it on an inanimate object, which is an apple, and he tries to reduce it, the size, and it fails. And then I brought you to the climax when I said that the machine is actually able to reduce the size of his children, and you see it over here at the climax. This is the climax. And then there is a falling action wherein you see that the children have shrunk and they come to the father, and later on again he's able to bring the children back to their original size. Okay, this is the end. Could you spot the rising action, the climax, the falling action over here? The rising action was when he tries it on an apple and it fails. Climax was when it succeeds for his children. They get reduced in size, they are shrunk. And the falling action is when he finds his children and he again makes sure that they go back, they are blown back to the original size. This is the end, this is a resolution. Okay, this is how even your tall tale should be. You should start with some possible, this is the possible zone. Then you should start moving towards the probable zone. This rising action is probable. And then you should come to a climax, which is improbable. And then there is a falling action that will happen. And then there is a resolution and end. Okay. At the end of a well-crafted tall tale speech, the audience should have a thought in their mind. Did this actually happen? They should be on the 50%. They should not be convinced, hey, this cannot happen. Impossible. They should not be, Arya, this is possible. This should not be this is not the litmus paper test. Litmus paper test that the tall tale was really successful is wherein the speaker leaves it at the 50% and you are able to convince the audience that, okay, yes, probably it might happen. There is some chance that it can happen. Okay. Okay. Now, having established this, we are done with the get set part, and let's come to the second part, which is the movies which are based on the tall tales. What Women Want. Have you seen this movie? Have you seen? Okay. Mr. India? Correct. And Dr. Dolittle? Must have watched. Okay. Okay. It's fine. So let's see how these three movies fall in tall tale. What Women Want. So this is an interesting movie by Mel Gibson, and the character Mel Gibson over here, he gets a special power that he can read what is happening inside a woman's mind. He can read what the women are thinking. Okay, so the character over here is a normal character, but he gets the superpower that he can start reading the mind of women. And how does he get that power? So if you watch the movie, what happens is he goes in his washroom and he's drying his hair. Okay, and while he's doing that, while he's drying his hair, he falls into the bathtub along with the electric hair dryer. Now, what would happen if an electric object falls in water? There's a current that will flow, right? And he gets a shock. And what they show, what the director has shown, as a result of that shock that the Mel Gibson gets, he gets a superpower. He gets a superpower that he can now start reading the mind of women. Interesting. So that is about what women want. And later on, he does few things using that power. He achieves some feat. I would encourage you to go and watch this movie to understand what he does. Okay. Now, Mr. India, if you have seen this movie, there's a character called Arun, if I remember the name, Arun. And he's owner of an orphanage, and he's very poor, and he needs to feed these children, these small children. Okay, and his father is a scientist. Please note this. I'm using some words. Note down this word, scientist. Please note down this word, because it helps us to establish, if you have to go from possible to probable, you have to bring in these characters in your story. There was a scientist who invented something. So his father had invented a watch which once a person wears and he pulls the dial, the person can get invisible. Okay. So what is the power over your character is Arun? What is the superpower that he has? That he can become invisible. How is he able to do it? By wearing a watch which is invented by his father, who is a scientist. So the director has moved us from possible to probable. Okay, to probable, and slowly he has taken us also into the improbable zone. Okay, and then you have Dr. Dolittle. Do you remember this movie, Dr. Dolittle? This character over here, Murphy, Eddie Murphy, he has a gift. He has a special power wherein he can he can understand what the animals are speaking, and it happens when he's a child. Okay, so the character is Eddie Murphy, who is a vet. What is the superpower he has? He has a superpower of listening to what the animals are saying, and he can speak to the animals also, right? And how does he get that? Well, as a child, he develops this skill. He's along with the animals since childhood, and he develops this, and he's able to achieve this feat. Okay, so we saw 3 examples of tall tales over here in movie form, and one on the previous slide, which was Honey I Shrunk the Kids. And before this, we saw Rajesh and Veer's story. So there are 5 examples of tall tales we have seen. Okay, interesting. Okay, get set. Okay, I'm going to share this with you. Don't worry, the entire presentation is going to be. Please sit behind and relax. Just note down if there is anything that you feel that is not there on the slide and I'm speaking, please note down only that. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the first part, which is get set. You understood there are characters have a special power, and then there is a conflict resolution that will happen. All the 5 stories, there is a conflict resolution. Okay, now this is a homework that I have for you. Okay, there are these movies, The Tuxedo, What Women Want, What Men Want. Okay, there's another movie, What Men Want. What Women Want was so famous that they came up with another movie, which is What Men Want. Okay, now this is what happens in a tall tale. All these movies, Iron Man, Batman, Superman, X-Men, Tarzan the Wonder Car, or Koi Mil Gaya, Avengers for that matter, these are super hit movies. Okay, so the Indian versions, the Tarzan or the Koi Mil Gaya might not be super hit, but trust me, the other English versions like the X-Men, Superman, Batman, these are hit on box office. If you go and see, these stories have sold, and that brings me to the importance of tall tales. Okay, whatever happens over here, now try and imagine this. You can watch a normal movie, like there is a normal movie, any recent movie that you have seen which is not a tall tale, can you just let me know? Because I don't watch movies much, but have you seen any movie recently? Just tell me a name quickly. Any Hindi movie, any Shah Rukh Khan movie, take any Shah Rukh Khan movie, okay? A romantic movie. That is like an international speech contest speech. Okay? Dil wale dulhaniya le jayenge, or then for that matter, Dil to pagal hai, or Dar, or then there was this Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. All are examples of international speech contests. But there are also movies which are like tall tales. Like there is Koi Mil Gaya, Tarzan the Wonder Car. Or if you have to see TV serials, there is Shaktiman. So this is what a human brain can imagine things. And if you can create a story out of it, it can become a TV serial or it can become a movie. And the movies, my experience is that the tall tale based movies are more, they are hit compared to, they have a higher box office earnings than a normal movie, because the audience, and they love imagination. And these movies are inspiration to the science also, that okay, can we invent a car which can fly? Can we invent a gadget in which we can become invisible, or we can read human mind? This is an inspiration to the science also. Okay, so this is where the tall tale contest also has its presence. You unleash your imagination and creative skills. Okay. Okay, so let us spin. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to write a tall tales, and to understand a tall tales, how to write, you also need to understand the ballot. Okay, and this is a tall tale ballot. Now, within this ballot, you would find that the grammar part only takes 15% marks. Okay, so if this thought is holding you back, hey, I am from a vernacular medium, or my first, and when I was in school, I came from Marathi medium or Hindi medium. English was not my first language. I'm not good in English. I should not participate in tall tales. Then please watch this. It's only 15%. Okay, and the judges are generous enough. They will discount you for this language. They won't care much about it. So don't worry about the language part. Please participate. Please go and deliver a tall tale. If you have a creative idea, you are imaginative in nature, you feel you can do a smooth transition from possible to probable to improbable, go and deliver. Even my English is not good, okay, but I love tall tale contests, and I do mentor people. I do go through their speeches, and we come up with some real good tall tale speeches. Okay, so don't let the idea or the notion that I come from a vernacular medium or Marathi medium school and English is not my first language, don't let this come. So what is important then? If language is not much important, okay, what is important? So the content part that you see over here, that has 30% weightage, and the delivery part that you see over here, that will have 55% weightage. Okay, these two things are something which are very important. Now within content, we just spoke about the story mountain. The entire story mountain falls in the 30% marks. Plus, within the story mountain, moving from possible to probable to improbable, will fetch you these 30 marks. Okay, how smoothly you can do it? Using irony, pun, or surprise twists at the end, or you can have some humor or slapstick. Slapstick is wherein the body language is exaggerated. Have you seen Jim Carrey movies? Jim Carrey movies, right? The Mask, or The Dumb and the Dumber. Or have you seen Mr. Bean? Mr. Bean, Laurel and Hardy, yeah, Charlie Chaplin. That's example of slapstick. The exaggerated body language that they have, that is an example of slapstick. Okay, so use these techniques and you'll get 25% mark. And then the body language can be exaggerated. You can have and you can use flexible voice to have for different characters, and you can get these 15 marks also. Okay, so with this my 45 minutes are over, and I still see the yellow card because we'll be taking questions over here at this point. But I'll just suggest this. How do we write a tall tale? So it's very simple. Write a normal speech. Don't think about the tall tale yet. Write a normal speech. And then try to identify a normal speech. When I say a normal speech, what is a normal speech? A normal speech is an anecdote, something which has happened to you, okay, which has a character, and there can be conflicts, there can be a rising action, and there can be a conflict. So in my story, Rajesh was a character, we had Veer as a character, and then there was a rising action, which was, say, they went to a Gir jungle. So that is a normal, write the normal speech. And once you are done with that, that is the first draft. And the first draft is normal. Now let's start exaggerating the different areas within this speech. So try and identify places wherein you can move the speech from possible to probable, from probable to improbable. Identify all those areas and start writing down those lines on piece of paper and try to fit that in your speech. And that is draft 2. Come to draft 3, wherein in whatever exaggerated speech that you see, after reading it, do you think it is still in the probable zone or improbable zone, or has it escaped into the impossible zone? Identify the impossible and remove that impossible and bring it back into the improbable zone. And your tall tale speech is ready, my dear friends. You can go and deliver it in your club. Okay, so there are 3 drafts that you'll have to write. With this, I'll hand it back to the moderator